That would be incredibly interesting. But then, like, this double sovereign talk and whatnot, with the ceremony and one for ruling, like, I'm intrigued.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Dahnan city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
I mean, it's very, very clear that she has some sort of ability to hide herself from Renans.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Yes, we know that, Alphen.
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Arato Cristo.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alphen and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
You silly people. Okay, this is a side quest. You want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you out canvassing for someone? I'm with His Excellency Erwolzi Teldiz. You probably know him better as Lord Balsef. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute. Believe me, I realized he can be an aggressive man. What those people don't realize is how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say that House Teldeliz doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve it will be the first to admit that.
Yes!
But His Excellency always stands up against any who would mean us harm. Of that we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of each and every member of his house.
Yes!
I owe so much to His Excellency. I could never dream of serving any other lord. A description
Balseph
of...
had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
A description of friendly intimidation sounded like Urianger. Yeah, Urianger be using some big words, man. Dude is crazy. And you know, he just be wrapping you up so you don't understand anything he's saying. But it all sounds good, so he must not be misleading you. Lord Dohalim, you have returned. And I see you brought aides with you. Do you remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must, yes? Not only do I support House Il-Kharas, but more specifically his lordship personally. So much so, I've been trying to share my appreciation of his lordship to anyone or any who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writings on the subject through this very terminal for all to read and enjoy. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I didn't realize you could do that with tumultuous. I've been unable to upload them. I know, since you're all here, I'll just read them aloud. There exists a most handsome man, a man who radiates beauty, whose every word, every syllable is divine poetry. He hails from the famed house Il-Kharas, and his name, Lord Dohalim. Music is his passion, the arts his great love. The scores of boorish, uncouth men of his land cannot begin to compare to his magnificence. So refined and majestic is his posture, why the mere thought of it brings me ecstasy. Once he becomes our sovereign, Rena shall bloom anew, ushering in an era of prosperity for our grand civilization. Until that glorious day comes, I shall forever be praying for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Well, what do you think, my lord? I poured my whole heart into it, hoping to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting things. I must take this time while the lines are down to append it. Only then will my masterpiece be complete.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
You hear that? Like a beeping or something. There it is again. Hey, Dante. Well, I never to think anyone would try to tear me away from House Valkyris.
What?
What do you mean? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dohalim or that dreadful Lord Almadria. Or Almadrea, I forget how they say the name. Do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served House Valkyris for generations. Indeed, I'm doing all I can to support Lord Ganabelt behind the scenes so that he might emerge victorious. Many think him to be a cruel man, but I insist they're utterly mistaken. Though I won't deny he can be strict, he puts Rena's interest front and center like no one else. Why, he advocates that rather than stay confined to Lenegis, we should get on with colonizing Dana and expand our horizons. That way, we will become masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on Dana's surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is a pursuit of power for the advancement of all our kind. It is what makes him an exemplary lord, a model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany him myself, my 2 sons have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the surface. As their father, it fills me with endless pride.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
I mean, thunderstorms kill satellite connection and internet, so a whole Earth movement will mess up comms, you're sure? Wonderful. Manifest Destiny, just what we need. Gonna be 100% with you. I've heard of Manifest Destiny many times. I've had it explained to me many times. But I don't remember.
This area
what it is.
doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
I'm guessing it has to do with the colonization of other areas. Because that comes to mind, and that's also relevant to what was being talked about.
Pardon me.
This area falls under the sole jurisdiction of House Caenaris. Or Caenaris. Probably Caenaris. Oh, that sounds pretty good. I must ask you to depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house, ruled over by the esteemed Lord Almadrea. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you to listen carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of Lenegis, only a few women lords have emerged to compete in the crown contest? Many have theories as to why this might be, but Lord Almadrea quashed the doubts of any naysayers throughout sheer might. In fact, not only did she usurp her father and previous family master, she also removed her older brother to claim the seat for herself. She is a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, who gives her enemies nary the slightest opening to strike. Truly, Lord Almadrea is a woman of talent. No one in all Rena better exemplifies the virtues of our nation's meritocracy. We'll go with meritocracy. I think that sounds correct. Soon the age of a glorious woman sovereign reigning over Lenegis shall be upon us at last.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Seed a shining seed, but vertically. Basically, the white American view that they own everything by divine right. It's what led to America being so huge. Got it right? Yes? Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Ridiculous.
How loathsome. Oh, I was just reading about Volron. Can I help you?
Okay.
I was always an ardent supporter of Lord Urwagil Hildress myself. Were it not for his sudden death down on the surface, I likely still would be. In my eyes, Lord Urwagil is the true Water Lord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident like they say. As for how Volron runs Ganath Haros, don't get me started. I hear he enslaves not only Danans, but even his fellow Renans. He may live in a society where to the victor go the spoils, but his actions go against what we, as a people, stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is this House Ignaceri of his anyway? I'd never heard of it until he came along, which means they must be among the lowest dregs of society. That such an ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an astral artist capable of ascending to lordship is unheard of. None of it makes any sense. Not to mention all of the upheaval around here of late. What is happening to our people?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Haros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Dahnan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Hooray. Money sure sounds like old money. By the way, you look quite a bit different than your voice would make you appear. I got a little bit of morning voice right now. My voice will undeepen itself. It will, shallow itself.
What is this?
I don't know the best way to put it, but, yeah.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current Sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfrikt Milgras, the former Lord of Cyslodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming Sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over Holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the Sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, Sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And To what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelegion, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Corps existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
For one, my goodness, you're skinny. I'm not that skinny. I mean, I'm skinny, but I'm not that. Well, okay. By everybody I've ever met has called me skinny, but you know, I've gained some pounds. I'm not the long jump track star that I used to be.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
And a sucker fool. Was unexpected.
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
I kind of like some of the varying dynamics of how they tell the stories of certain characters, which, you know, is I was gonna make a parallel there, but it's kind of cool that some characters get most of their progression through like flashbacks, so that you know what exactly happened to them, but they never want to talk about it, so you know, but the characters don't necessarily know. Whereas there's other characters, basically most of all the other characters except for one, who gets all of their character progression through actually experiencing those moments and having them talk about those moments. I'm glad it's just not one or the other. There's a tiny bit of a mix. This is crazy. How long is this going to keep on? I don't know. Normally, we would have had orders from the top brass informing all the separate classes what they need to do. I doubt that's happening. The whole chain of command in the city seems like it's broken down. Nobody knows what's happening. That doesn't mean someone somewhere isn't watching our every move. For now, we should see if there's anyone higher ranking around here. Maybe they'll have an idea about what we should be doing. This thing. Looking around for some treasure chests. Like that one. Tofu. I forgot to buy some more of that. How unfortunate. I wonder how much time has passed since Lennigus transformed and we went up here. Because it's kind of crazy that there's still fires and things like that. Couldn't have been a short amount of time. Looks like a boss fight that we're not ready for.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renans sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait. Don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Dahnans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right.
I had a feeling there was more to him.
Yeah.
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Typically, in this game thus far, if you have a name and you have voice acting, this is with most JRPGs out there, but if you have a name and you have voice acting, you are a shoo-in to be more
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
than meets the eye. Do my eyes deceive me? Alright, let's just go through this quickly. Rapik. Let's go with some sheep. Good weapons we have access to. Okay. Don't have very much money here. Well, I need to be careful. Jesus, this... Alrighty. Doria Wren. Could make... Ooh, that's a pretty big upgrade, actually. make best one for you. Pink Pyrotector. My goodness. Alright, before I do that, still nothing there. Okay, we don't have anything there. Where are we at with... Okay, we got plenty of orange gels. Got plenty of those. Okay. I think... Oh, wait. Yep. Armor. This armor is actually... a solid amount of upgradiness. Let's see, I have 4 party members. These are essentially 10,000 each. We can skip over Rinwells, I guess. I think going for defense is going to be the better play here. And now we're poor again. But it doesn't look like armor is used for anything. So I think I'm okay to sell armor or as weapons. You know, I shouldn't risk it. Shouldn't risk it. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Oh, 32 of those. $10,000. Just enough to forge this.
Did we really just spend that much money?
Calm down. Alright, save and mark. Done that.